Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to Crown Business TV, the place where business owners and entrepreneurs receive valuable insight and takeaway information to improve their profitability and business growth. Strap yourself in for another amazing episode with your host, Harvey Lynch. Welcome along ladies and gentlemen, Harvey Lynch here, and welcome to Crown Business TV again. This is another exciting episode coming your way this evening. We're going to be chatting a lot about JobKeeper and what's going on in the minds of business owners right now. It seems to be the flavour of the month, and we're going to bring a special guest on board to lay the issues to rest on what is going on as far as JobKeeper and Jobseeker is concerned, because I think there's a lot of focus probably on that a little bit too much at the moment, and we want to bring our focus back to the more important things with our business. But first of all, before I bring our guest on, I want to introduce you to Jim. Hey there, meet Jim. Jim owns and runs a successful business. Jim and his team love what they do. They work hard and are proud of their achievements. But one day, Jim's workflow had suddenly dried up due to a nasty virus that had shaken the economy to a standstill. And of course, Jim was getting rather concerned as to what this would mean for the future of his business. Would he have to lay off staff? And how would he maintain his valuable customers? Although, whilst not to be undone by this current crisis, Jim sought about ways in which to deal with his situation. He wanted to keep his business alive and keep his business thriving as well. After all, Jim had a loving family to look after. He went in search of information, to which he discovered a business expert who gave him a guide that helped him focus on his business in the right areas and outlined strategies to reboot his workflow and maintain his profitability. And after putting these tips to work, Jim now feels more confident than ever to handle times of uncertainty, to which he is now certain of a bigger and brighter future. So Jim recommends, don't get bitter during times of adversity, get better. Be like Jim. Download your free guide today. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to grab your copy of the guide and be just like Jim, you can grab it at the link in the comments below. And with me now is Simon Terry of Porter's Chartered Accountants, based in South Perth and Albany in Australia, delivering clients genuine care and excellence in professional accounting, tax and business advice. Clients will be supported and guided in their personal and business journeys towards continued success. And welcome along tonight, Simon. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks, Harvey.
Mate, why don't we start off by getting your lay of the land, so to speak, as far as business owners are concerned with your clients and what you're hearing in the general midst of things out there at the moment.
Look, there's probably a lot of uncertainty, but I'm probably saying most of my client base are relatively unaffected, and some of them are actually seeing volumes going up where they haven't expected it. So yeah, all the farming community pretty much are just happy it's been raining the last couple of days. A lot of the industrial community, vet practices, some of these businesses are actually going quite well. A lot of the industrial and mining focused businesses going quite well. If you're in those areas of entertainment, pubs, cafes, retail, life is tough. Yeah. And we were chatting earlier today, and I've recently done a bit of market research myself, and it seems to paint a little bit different picture now of what's actually going on compared to what we're hearing. Are you finding similar things? Yeah, look, nobody wants to sing out to say, actually, my business is going well. There's people who are doing hard times. As an accountant, all this JobKeeper and stimulus is pushing work my way. It's not easy. It's hard yards, but it is work and volume. We're seeing. So the people who are affected, clearly that's a headline. My gym is closed. My cafe is closed. My pub is closed. There's no passing traffic. People don't want to go to the doctor. But there are businesses who are, I think, are just quietly going about their work, they don't want to sing out to say actually things are pretty good. The farmers of the world are keeping pretty quiet now that the rains come in. Now's not a time to put your head up and say we're succeeding, unless you're able to be supporting local business, making sure. Look, to me, it's a success. Keeping my staff busy, keeping them paid. There's no cut back in hours. That for me is a win. And as many of my clients who can keep their staff on, also a win.
I think, like you say, it has. We've had rain here in the southern half of the state in the last 24 hours, and I'm sure all the farmers are self-isolating back to the tractor cabs. So I want to just touch on now, get into speaking about JobKeeper, because I from what I'm hearing as well, there's still a focus on JobKeeper, and with our discussions earlier today also is that the frequently asked questions you're getting around eligibility and that sort of thing, and I wouldn't mind if you could touch on that for us to be able to go through the details of JobKeeper, so that when people listening to this and listening to the recording come across it, they know what they're up for and what they have to do. So first of all, I think is it probably the most frequent question you get, Simon, is, am I eligible?
Yeah, look, the devil is in the detail. To hear the politicians, it's really simple. You're in or you're out. Get going. There is quite a few tests. First, obviously, you've got to be running a business. It's not, most of the focus is the eligibility is on the employer. The money comes to the employee, but if you're an employee, it's more about talking with your employer. And if you're still getting paid your normal wage, it doesn't affect you. If you're the business owner, which includes sole traders, partnerships, trusts, companies, are you running a business? The next question is your turnover down by more than 30%? Seems like a simple question, but you're looking back 12 months. It could be for the month of March, the month of April, the forecast for the April to June quarter. It could be cash, could be accrual accounting. The devil is in the detail. Some businesses just fallen through the floor. You own a gym, you own a pub, a cafe, you're eligible. Some other businesses, it's quite a close calculation. And for some who've been growing, is what we call an alternative test. Let's say I've had 2 stores, I bought another 2, so I'd expect my business to be up 100%, but I'm then down. What does that mean? And there's different tests to take through different comparative periods. Once you are eligible, there's steps you've got to take. You've got to make sure, for employees, there's a rule that they say 1 in, all in. If we decide to do it, I must get all my employees in, and I must pay them a minimum of $1,500 per fortnight. So that's probably the key thing. And a business owner doesn't have to apply. There's some people who've kind of revenues falling right through the floor who are saying, I can't afford all this reviewing and financing and funding staff who are not coming to work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool, isn't it? I think when you're talking about it like that way, it's a tool to be able to nurse and carry things along a bit if needed. So as far as the application process, what sort of what's involved in applying for JobKeeper for business owners?
So the first bit, and look, you can do it yourself. It's complicated. Complicated legislation has been thrown at the ATO with very short notice. So they don't have systems that are intuitive. They don't have procedures. There's little glitches in the system that you kind of learn from experience. So the first thing is, if you've got an accountant or if you've got a bookkeeper, lean on them, because they're learning from experience, part of conversations about what's in, what's out, what do I need to know. So confirm your eligibility that, am I running a business? We have, for a business owner, what's called an eligible business participant. Some people run like a side hustle. I've got a job here and I've got a side hustle. If you've got a permanent full-time job, you're not eligible as a side hustle.
Yeah, okay.
And so confirm your eligibility. You got to speak to all your employees, make sure they all have received a nomination and accepted a nomination. There can be issues with teenagers, visa holders. Some people get parental leave, or they're on workers' comp, or for some reason they may not want to receive it, like for a family law issue. So you need to work out exactly who's in. You need to give them all the chance. You need to get into your software, get the payroll set up on single touch payroll. There's special codes that you need to put in on sort of 0 and mild to tell the payroll, to tell the ATO that this is not normal payroll, this is JobKeeper.
Yeah.
And then you go onto the ATO portal. If you've got a MyGov account, you can apply yourself through your MyGov account. Otherwise, through your tax agent, sort of.
Is this a stepping stone kind of process between the government and accountants also, Simon? Like, I'm sure we're going to talk about some, loopholes in that shortly, but the process of being able to, first of all, from accountants' point of view, to be able to understand this and then to be able to explain it to their clients. But is there any of that sort of stuff going on between yourself and where you're getting all your information from on how do we deliver this JobKeeper product?
No, look, there's a lot out there. It's trying to create simplicity from, there's 100-page information memorandum, then there's the legislation, then there's Treasury FAQs that might not line up with the legislation. For the accountants of the world, it's been part of chat groups on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook of other professionals who are, have got contacts with the ATO or the tax training bodies, or are just seeing things in, So it's, for me, it's been a real community effort. There's a lot of people who are part of trying to make this a success. And we wish it was more straightforward, but we've got what we've got. And so now it's trying to make a success of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess to make a success of it, as far as the business owner is concerned, what sort of information do they need to have in order, up to date? Any particular type of stuff to apply?
So first one's having your numbers up to date. Every month you've got to be reporting by the 7th of the month your actuals for the month just gone and your forecast for the month ahead. Ideally, you're on a cloud accounting product like Xero or MyOb or QuickBooks. So you've got that information to hand. And look, I'd say for any successful business owner, if you're not on there or one of those similar platforms, you should be, because that allows you to have your hands on the business, knowing what the numbers are. And that also allows an accountant to look and say, well, what's in, what's out? Let's look at last year. Where's the comparisons? It's all to hand. Spreadsheet's kind of nice, but a recipe for disaster. So it's having that information to hand. It also means that when you need to report it, you've got the system set up.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a matter of having everything up to date, books, and whether it be, engaging with someone like yourself or an outsourced bookkeeper to be able to handle that, because you're going to hear crickets otherwise, aren't you? You've got to have everything up to speed.
Yeah, and I think it would be exceptionally hard for somebody, a member of the public who's a business owner who's not working with somebody who's connected in to do this. And as much as the ATO is trying to help, they've also said, if you get it wrong, you may be ineligible and you'll have to pay back every cent. So a business owner has gone and reached out to put a lot of money to their employees, and then they may be ineligible. For an operating business, look, we've got some clients who are down, but they're still trading as usual. So JobKeeper is a nice to have. It's great to have. It's $19,500 per employee for the 6-month period. So you've got 10 employees, you've got the best part of $200,000 input into your business. You lose that, that's a massive loss. But if you're a business that's closed and you've had to reach into your pocket to pay these people to sit at home while you wait for your business to reopen and you lose your $200,000, you're losing your house and going bankrupt. You want to get that right.
Absolutely. And is there any timelines, deadlines for the application process at all that things need to be in by?
Yeah, look, the timelines have been pushing out. They were tighter. It was all back at the end of last month. And now we're saying 8th of May. If you're paying your employees, if they haven't received a minimum of $1,500 a fortnight for the last month, by the 8th of May, you're not eligible. So if you've got employees and you're planning on doing it and they're earning under $1,500 a fortnight, it's time to assess your eligibility in a hurry and make that done. You've then got until the end of May to update your documents with the ATO, but it's not until you provide that feedback that you will get reimbursement. And we have had a few business owners say, look, I'm doing it myself. I went onto the ATO website 2 weeks ago and I put in my expression of interest. That expression of interest was nothing. It was just a mailing list effectively for the ATO. It wasn't registration, but it had a lot of people going, oh, look, I registered. I'm just waiting for the ATO to get back to me and give me my money. But that's not the way it's done. So look, if you want to do it, get in quick. If you miss this month, you can qualify for later months. It's not but you never get to go back in time. So your 19,500 drops to 16,500. You're kind of dropping $3,000 a month for every month you're late per employee.
Yeah, right. Okay. And I've noticed lately, particularly in chatting with some business owners in regards to loopholes that are appearing, and the one that stands out is like deferring payments, deferring invoices. Sorry, I can see that being a kick up the bum down the track, particularly if if you get caught out and you've got to pay back every cent. Are you seeing any of this sort of stuff?
Look, I wouldn't take it from my clients, but yes, I'm hearing of it. The ATO have specifically come out in the legislation and says contrived arrangements where you push your turnover around, defer a receipt, contact the supplier to say, look, pay me next month so my income is down. ATO have said they'll come down on that. More than usual, they've actually engaged the Tax Practitioners Board, and we hear they've engaged the Australian Federal Police to say that we will be checking this. It's something we haven't seen before in the tax arrangement, to see these joint communications coming out. It's self-assessment. Everybody who applies will be approved. You apply now and say I'm down, they will take your word for it and they'll pay you the money. But you've got to keep your records for 5 years. So anytime in the next 5 years, they can come back, look at all your numbers. You will have been reporting actuals, you've been reporting tax returns. The ATO don't look very often, but when they do, they've got a really good magnifying glass to look deep into everything your business has done. So approach with care. You may as well go down and rob the local shop. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Purely use it as a tool and abide by the rules, because it could seriously have effects later on.
Yeah.
And one last thing was, did I hear today that particularly your agricultural clients, there's a new, is it to do with JobKeeper, a new allowance scheme for farmers?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it was something I heard on the radio today.
No, look, farmers, give or take rain.
Business
our local
as usual.
farmers have had a pretty good run for the last many years. It's not easy, but they've done pretty well. But one of the things that probably we haven't addressed has been talking about eligibility is Fair Work. There's so much, staff have been organised to work from home, come to work, social distancing, work different hours. For a business owner who's saying, look, I have to pay people a minimum of $1,500, well, I normally, I might have a part-timer who only does a day a week. Can I get them in to work 3 days a week? Because I don't want to just give them $1,200 for nothing. There's different staff who may say, look, I'd rather sit at home. I'm scared to come into work. Can you just give me $1,500 to do nothing? There's a lot of these issues that are going on, and it's not easy for business owners because it's Fair Work has got a lot of good information on their website. Chamber of Commerce and Industry have got some really good information out there, but it's a really difficult time for a business owner to be trying to integrate my accounting and tax eligibility, something where the ATO have said you get this wrong and we'll come down hard on you, and then you're still dealing with people. Every successful business is based on a really good team of people, but on the other hand, you need to be treading a fairly fine line to get these things working.
And that's the best place to go for information is your local Chamber of Commerce, the ATO website, and any others? Yeah,
they've all got pretty good information. Chamber of Commerce is really worth, they've got some good information. The Fair Work website has got some special COVID-19 information. Look, if it gets complicated, you probably want to be speaking to a lawyer or an HR/IR specialist. But part of this challenge, look, if you're one of the people who's receiving this as a bonus, that's really good. I'm getting $19,500 for people I was going to be paying anyway. Winning, I can afford to pay a lawyer. You take the person who's really struggling and needs every cent of this to stay afloat, to then go and have to spend money on lawyers and accountants and advisors as to how do I make this work. That's where it gets difficult. And those are some of the business owners that are saying, it's too hard, I'm going to down tools, and sorry guys, I can't afford to take on this JobKeeper.
Yeah, okay. Simon, thanks very much for your time this evening, mate. And if people listening that want to find out information about what we've spoken about tonight and would like to reach out to you, how would they best get in touch with you, mate?
So, look, the easiest is our website, portersca.com. Got all contact details there. You can book a meeting directly from our contact. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. But yeah, portersca.com. Look us up on Google. We're in South Perth and Albany. Always happy to help with people. At times like this is when you need to kind of double down and commit harder. It's not a time to back off and hide at home. It's a time to push hard and come out successful.
Absolutely, mate. And we'll put your website and that in the comments and the description as well, mate, so people can look you up. And thanks again, mate. Much appreciated, and hope all goes well with yourself and your business and your clients as well. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Okay, thanks, Harvey. Bye.
We'll be back very shortly. Thanks, folks.
Hey there, meet Jim. Jim owns and runs a successful business. Jim and his team love what they do. They work hard and are proud of their achievements. But one day Jim's workflow had suddenly dried up due to a nasty virus that had shaken the economy to a standstill. And of course, Jim was getting rather concerned as to what this would mean for the future of his business. Would he have to lay off staff? And how would he maintain his valuable customers? Although, whilst not to be undone by this current crisis, Jim sought about ways in which to deal with his situation. He wanted to keep his business alive and keep his business thriving as well. After all, Jim had a loving family to look after. He went in search of information, to which he discovered a business expert who gave him a guide that helped him focus on his business in the right areas and outlined strategies to reboot his workflow and maintain his profitability. And after putting these tips to work, Jim now feels more confident than ever to handle times of uncertainty, to which he is now certain of a bigger and brighter future. So Jim recommends, don't get bitter during times of adversity, get better. Be like Jim. Download your free guide today.
Ladies and gentlemen, back again. And pretty awesome stuff from Simon there. I think we got a lot out of that as far as what we're eligible for, and the difference between who can apply, who can't apply, and what your turnover reduced revenue inputs are at before you can apply, and what not to do as well, and that is try and cheat the system. And so coming on to our new segment now, Q&A, I think is I've brought it in as this is our first segment of it for business owners to be able to send in their questions to have them answered on the show. And I want to kick it off tonight with a question from Maida. She is wondering, Maida has a dental practice, and she's wondering how people, in particular her clients, will be able to afford things like dental care when the stimulus runs out. Now, that's a good question, and that's something that's a little unknown, what's going to happen when stimulus runs out. But I think as far as the economy is concerned, there could be some struggles ahead. I think the virus thing will sort itself out. But what's happened to the economy between now and that time has put it under a bit of pressure, I think. And this question can also be translated into whether or not it's being able to help your clients out from a decreased. Is the question really about the fact that you're going to be experiencing a decrease in revenue, or is it simply wondering about how clients are going to be? The first thing that I would suggest Maida, is to firstly communicate with your clients to find out if they are actually going to be suffering as far as being able to afford dental care at all. I'm sure from the research that I've done recently, and it depends on which exact industry you talk to, people aren't that bad right at the moment. We've heard a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that we've heard through the media has put an outlook on things that we think is the case. But when you actually work out what's really going on, it is, as a whole, it's not quite the case at all. So first of all, communicate with your clients and see if there is likely to be an issue there. That way you can start planning earlier on in the piece to have a plan in place for when and if that time arrives. Now, as far as being able to, a strategy for if that time arises and being able to help your clients afford, if the case may be, dental care, is to obviously the way to structure it is around having a payment system or something like that. The first thing, actually, I'll start with what not to do, and that is to discount your prices. That's a big no-no in anyone's book, and I've been preaching that for a while now, because discounting your prices, your competition is only going to beat you by discounting theirs, and it's a race to the bottom, you see. But so discounting your prices is a no-go for the health of your business long term. What I would suggest is, after speaking with your clients, and if the need arises, is to have a payment system in place, which can be you can set that up yourself, and maybe offer discounts in advance, right? If you are thinking about discount, offer it as for an advanced payment only. So if you're going to accept payments up front, offer a discount on payments up front in advance, and rather than discounting all your prices across the board. The second thing is what you could do is to pre-book your next appointment and set up a payment system, a payment plan between this booking and the next, because you have the booking already in place for the next time, and you can spread payments between now and then. And thirdly, which is probably the more attractive idea, is to be able to set up a payment system with things like Afterpay, or there's other third-party payment providers out there that provide funding and sources of funds to be able to support people that can pay off during that period, where you would accept full payment up front. I'm guessing the reason for the question is probably for bigger things such as like braces that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, probably not your everyday checkup. So something like Afterpay would probably benefit you big time in this area, to be able to you accept your payment up front from the funding provider, and the client then structures payments between now and down the track. Very well used, and very well use those payment terms, payment providers, particularly with marketing, as far as being able to use as a conversion tool for new clients as well. But I think as far as your question goes, if you're wondering if that's going to be an issue, communicate with your clients first to identify if there's going to be an issue, and then draw up the plans on what you're going to do if that need arises. And then because you've got that plan, you can utilize one of those strategies to be able to help your clients go through that process. I'm sure, if someone's got a toothache, they're definitely going to get it fixed regardless. But if that is a problem, then I would go down those channels and work that one out. So thanks for sending in that question, Mata. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other questions that you would like answered on the show, just email them into info@crownbusinessdevelopment.com. That's info@crownbusinessdevelopment.com, and we'll get them answered on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you very much for coming along to Crown Business TV this week. I hope you got a lot of value out of Simon's chat tonight, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. Bye for now.